Welcome back to Mind of a Musician. This is the podcast where I dig up small, independent, or local bands off the internet, and I try to expose them to more people because their music's good, so you should hear about them. This week, we're going to take a look at artists from Wichita, which is where I live right now. So the first band we're going to check out is called Idea. They've got a really interesting song title here. It's called Such Rich Young Hipsters. I'm glad I don't look like them. So, I saw this title on Bandcamp and I just had to click on the song. And the title was like a magnet. I just wanted to know what it sounded like. And it's actually pretty cool. It's actually a pretty serious song. The band says on Bandcamp that they are influenced by math and beer. So, intriguing. Keep that in mind as we listen. What's this song about? Well, it's actually a breakup song. And the singer, Patrick Randolph, he said, it's just a generic breakup song. But I actually think there's more to it than that. He went on to tell me that it's actually about noticing his own patterns in relationships and reflecting on that, trying to learn from it and evolve. And I think that can be a very deep, intriguing concept. I mean, have you ever reflected on your relationships? It's kind of like that movie High Fidelity, where he's looking at all his past relationships and trying to figure out what made him go wrong. And for me, even now, I notice patterns I've had for years that just now come to my attention. It's a learning moment. So the song is about trying to come to terms with the breakup, but it's also about trying to learn from it and evolve. So let's listen to Such Rich Young Hipsters by Idea. All right, let's talk about this song. So, a similar artist that I thought of is Frightened Rabbit. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. I hadn't. But one day, one of my old bass players called me and he's like, dude, you got to check out this band. I'm going to mail you 2 CDs. And he sent me 2 albums by Frightened Rabbit. And they've got a similar sound here. One thing I really like is those ghost notes on the snare. And I think that just brings a completely different feel to the song. The guitar tone, it's very glossy. I really like that. It sounds kind of bell-like. There's not a lot of lyrics here, but they create an atmosphere of reflection. And one thing I kind of envisioned in my mind when I heard this song for the first time was floating or maybe flying in an airplane looking over mountains, which is actually the cover of the album, so that's kind of cool. There's really only one chord structure the whole time. It doesn't change that much, but it builds in complexity. It actually gives you the space to reflect on your own life and to go deeper and deeper until at the end it's just kind of a big jam. It's really kind of cool. I don't think that this song needs an additional chord structure or variation because it's not about taking you through changes. It's not so much about a journey. It's about providing the atmosphere for you to reflect. It's about introspection, and it sets that mood. This is another song that was recorded by the band themselves. They rented a cabin at Clinton Lake in Lawrence, and they went up there, and for 3 days they just recorded a guitar. Now, he told me it wasn't that much fun because they really wanted to hang out at the lake and jam, but they were stuck recording, trying to get this right. But, you know, that kind of atmosphere, the cabin and the lake, I feel like it bled into the performance and the recording here. This band has some other really interesting song titles, so I recommend going on Bandcamp or iTunes or wherever and checking out the rest of this band's music. All right, let's take a look at our second band. So, I'm actually really excited because I get to premiere a song that nobody's heard before. So the only place you can get this song on the internet right now is right here. It is called CBD by Stay the Course. It's another band from Wichita. So they have an album coming out in, I think, March. It's called Hello Wishicago, and this is a preview of what's going to be on that album. So the name, it's kind of interesting where it comes from. One of the band members, when they were writing and recording, he found out he had to move to Chicago just this past May. And the band didn't have a whole lot of time to finish writing and recording. And they also didn't have a drummer at the time. But turns out Mike had a brother in Chicago named Jeff who played drums. So they called him up and asked him if he'd drum on the record, and he said, yeah, but if I do this, then I'm in the band. So he recorded them, he sent the tracks back to the band in Wichita, and they finished the rest of the recording here. So that's where the name comes from. Wishicago is kind of a sandwich of Wichita and Chicago. So what's this song about? Mike said he was kind of wrestling with these feelings of not being where he wanted to be in life, and it was really about working through that. It's about being restless, discontent, but deciding now that you're going to do something about it to move forward. So that's what this song is about. Let's take a listen to CBD by Stay the Course.
I need a breath of fresh air to soothe these lungs, but with walls closing in one breath might not be enough. I'm so tired of wasting my days chasing nothing. My insides are screaming, don't look back, just keep running.
Let's talk about this song. First of all, let's draw some musical similarities. One thing I like about it is that it's kind of a callback to me to Blink-182, early Blink-182's album Dude Ranch. So when I was in middle school, early high school, I got that album. I didn't like it quite as much as their later albums because it was a little too raw. It eventually grew on me. But what I would have liked back then was this band's sound, because it's like they took Dude Ranch and they updated it, just gave it a little bit more crisp production. I don't even know if that's one of these band's influences, but I hear that. Go listen to the second track off Dude Ranch. It's called Voyeur, and it sounds really similar to this song, except this one's more polished and maybe a little bit more radio friendly. Personally, I really like that fast, upbeat sound in the driving guitars. I like this kind of drums. It's very energetic. Yeah, it makes me want to go run a mile or something. So if you like a little bit more grit to your pop punk, this is it. They bring a little bit of grit to the vocals. I like that. I like that kind of vocal style. Mike said during the writing process, Joseph made him revise the lyrics like 2 or 3 times. And it was really a hard process. It was a struggle. But in the end, the results show and he's really happy with it. What do you guys think of this song? Let me know on the Mind of a Musician Facebook page. You should look up Stay the Course on Bandcamp and Facebook because they're going to have that new album coming out in 2019. And you could be one of the first ones to get it. That's all I've got for this episode. But if you could share this on Facebook or Twitter, it would really help these bands a lot. What I'm trying to do is over the course of the next 6 months or a year is I'm trying to find people who are really into music, like indie music, local music, small, hardworking bands that don't get a lot of radio play or publicity. And what I want to do is I want to find all of their hardcore followers and get them to listen to this podcast so that I can pitch bands to them. I can help your band and your friends' bands launch a new song. Trust me, just one share on Facebook goes a long way. So let's grow this together. Let's help local music. Hey, send me a message too. Let me know what you would like to hear on the show. So until next time, this is Mind of a Musician. See ya.